Ben! Ben, you're drunk! Ben, are you gonna hurt yourself? Just stay with me, okay? Just stay with me.
It's okay. I'm done.
The office of Dr. Jeremy Roberts is now closed and will reopen at 9 a.m. Monday morning. Please note this phone is not equipped for voicemail.
Dispatch, who's calling, please?
It's really challenging for family members when it appears obvious that their loved one needs help. It's frustrating, and quite often the family member becomes so engrossed in what's going on that they themselves become sick or affected. Seeking help is always the right choice. We are working towards making every door the right door.
I think our service is constantly evolving and becoming more and more accessible to families, and more programming, lots of great things are being offered. Sometimes it's figuring out how to access it, and we're getting better at that as well. It starts with that first person that you meet when you walk in the door, that they know what we have, they make you feel supported, just hang on, let me put you through to the right person.
Our community mental health clinics throughout the province take dozens of phone calls a day with folks just calling, looking for information, trying to sort out where do I start, where do I go. I think often our perceptions as healthcare professionals, what we forget is that we have the map in our head. And so I get a question on the phone, let's say a cold call from a parent, and I do get those in my job regularly. I have to remember that they don't have that map.
I think the evolution of us being now mental health and addiction services together as an integrated service has meant that individuals that are coming forward with what used to be viewed as one or the other are now more obviously seen as problems that are knitted together. With the integration of our services and more of a notion of us committing ourselves with a mission statement to be welcoming. Come in, we'll help you navigate the system from here.
There's a number of access points built into community. Our GPs are pretty good at sorting through what might be able to be addressed in a GP's office versus what might need a more specialized approach.
Mental health issues present in family practice in many different ways. It's a very rare person who walks into the family doctor's office and said, "Doctor, I'm depressed. I want to go on drug therapy." What we do receive, however, are multiple patients who feel tired, stressed, who don't sleep well. But sometimes it takes the family doctor to point out that, no, your headache, your back pain, and your fatigue are all connected to your mood. 2/3 of my today's list were significantly impacted by mental health stress issues.
It's pretty misunderstood, you know. There's a lot of stigma around addiction, and people tend to view people as being weak, you know, lacking morals, not having good judgment, and it's not the case. It's a disease.
They don't talk about that in school. You don't learn about addiction and the disease of addiction. It wasn't until I started working here that I thought, I get it. It kind of makes sense, you know? And most people don't. You know, it takes a lot of courage to come in and say, look, I need some help. Not long ago, we had somebody just walk in and say, I don't know why I'm here. I need to do something. And what I told them, I congratulated them for coming in. It's okay if you don't know where you are right now or what you need. Let's talk about it. Tell me a little bit what's going on, and let's figure out what we can do to sort of help you get on a path that maybe makes a big change in your life.
I believe that we need a system that is responsive, that is nimble. That's really important. So when they do reach out, that there is help there. We're always looking to see what is there that might cause a barrier. If someone calls us to let us know that they couldn't get immediate access to a service, then my question is, well, if we can't give you a bed, for example, what can we give you? That there's always something that we can do.
I know that we hear a lot in the media that, that people do have extended waits, but we maintain contact with the client and act as a support in the interim until they are able to receive inpatient treatment if that's what is required for them.
There would be some differences between various services depending on where they present. So if they're presenting with a lot of challenges and presenting in an emergency room, it will be a slightly different process than, for instance, at one of our community mental health clinics.
You may feel that you need to see a psychiatrist, but in fact, much of psychiatric illness is treated by family doctors and emergency room staff and doesn't need a psychiatrist. Emergency room physicians are pretty capable in terms of assessing basic psychiatric illness. They're going to screen out the patients who they feel are at acute risk, who would otherwise not do well unless they saw a psychiatrist.
Assessment is kind of our fancy word for getting a person's story. So it's trying to figure out, what's working for that person, because we don't want to change that, but what isn't working for that person.
But a lot of the first part is building the relationship. You're really listening for them to tell you some negative things. So they might be saying, I want to hang out with my friends. There's nothing wrong with my friends. And then they might say, but I use every time I'm with them. So you would just kind of put it back. So you're in a really tough place. You love your friends, but you use every time you're there. And then they would start to hear themselves saying that and go, well, maybe I do need to make some changes.
We would work with them with what their goals are. So whatever they're looking for, that's kind of where we want to meet them. So if they're coming in saying, I want to cut back, all right, that's your goal, let's work with that.
Years ago, they used to be told, you need to do, a client would come in and you need to do this and you need to go to the meetings. And so we try to now present it like, these are your options. What would work well for you? We have family counselors across the province. We have new programming that's evidence-based called CRAFT that helps the family members motivate their loved one into treatment. And even in terms of community meetings, there's different meetings. There's, the AA and the NA, and now we have Smart Recovery. And so it's being aware of what's out there in the community. There's no right way to do it. It's what's right for them.
We encourage people to attend community support groups and the groups that we offer, because quite often when somebody stops using a substance, they're losing a lot. They have to give up their whole way of life, their circle of friends.
Sometimes tell people the only thing that needs to change is everything. People that you go, the places you go, the people you hang out with, the things you do, those are the things that have to change, because otherwise you're just going to be triggered to use constantly. A big part of it is feeling connected to something else. We have an open support group that anybody can come into. You don't have to be a client here. If you want to come in, we have a discussion. It's kind of a check-in. How's your week? What's your plan for this weekend? And we also have a living recovery program, which is kind of like an aftercare program for people who are motivated and dedicated to living a life of recovery.
We know from the research, people can improve their health status in a number of areas. The reality with mental health issues, not much different than physical. There are some that are chronic, and it's about lifestyle management. It's about figuring out what treatment plan works for you and trying to work on that every day. Well, I'm constantly amazed at the courage and resilience of people, and I mean that genuinely. People who've had very difficult experiences that I think, man, would I be as well put together after that? I don't know.
I struggled with this myself with alcohol. 6 years ago, I almost didn't survive my addiction, and to be able to be on this side of things and to be able to give back to people is, to me, is such a blessing. When you see people coming back over and over and over, and some people don't understand why, but I understand.
Sometimes families hear stuff they don't want to hear. The reality is we can't fix your loved one. We can't make it better right away. We used to show a video. There was a gentleman in this video, and he said, I can't tell you why the 11th time worked and the others didn't. And we need to remember that. And we need to build on the strengths. What did you do right the first time? What worked, what didn't? The fact that they can come through the doors the second or the third time, ready to do things a little bit different and feel supported, and that they don't have to hold their head down. And it's kind of like, I'm back and I'm ready to do this now. And we're excited to see them. That's the message that we want out there.
That readiness to change variable is a very powerful one. I've had clients who come in and they start a bit of work and they realize, you know what, I'm not up for this. So then it's about, how do I leave them with a good feeling about coming back? It's helping people see the importance of small victories. It's not a big, enormous, magic wand change overnight, right? It's the step-by-step that it takes to move towards wellness.
It's very humbling to work in this field and to journey with people that go from such a depth of pain and despair to such a sense of peace in their lives is incredible.
It's unfortunate we hear so often about the negative, maybe, people's interpretation of lack of services. But I see hope every day I come in to work, because people are coming through our doors. That takes a huge amount of courage.
Because of confidentiality, I can't go out and say, listen, there's this really cool kid down the street and they survived XYZ and they rock. I don't get to say that, but we certainly experience it here.
I think that there's a silent, great majority of people who have received the help that they were looking for. I don't think people are going to the media necessarily or are out there kind of claiming it, but I think there's lots of folks that would quietly say when asked, I went in and saw so-and-so, and that helped a lot. They helped me get my head on straight.
I believe that people can get well and live the life that they want to live. That's why I do what I do, just to help people be the best that they can be and to not judge and to give them hope.